Hello everyone, this is Clary from Shadowmoon Tarot, and this is another episode of the Astro-Tarot series. Today we are going to talk about the astrological houses, and I wish I was more advanced and I could put fancy charts on my screen, but unfortunately I can't, so we will have to do the things the old-fashioned way. However, I do promise you that by the end of this episode you will understand what the houses are and how they work. Now, I do apologize in advance if you hear any noises in the background because I've been trying for a week to find some time to have the house to my own so that I can film that, but it's not happening. So I have to go with the flow and do that now. Now, if you are total beginners to astrology and you know nothing about the astrological signs and the planets, I have created a playlist for this series, and I would suggest you watch the previous episode first so that you get a better understanding of the terms that I'm going to use in this episode, although I'm trying to use as less terminology as possible so that I keep the things simple and easy to understand. Now, talking about astrological houses, before we even start, I need to mention that there are many different house systems in astrology. However, in all the systems, the houses follow the same order and they mean the same thing. The only difference is that depending on which system we use, the houses may differ in size, but I'm not going to go into that depth. I'm going to use the equal house system, which is the oldest one, and in that system all the houses have the same size. Now, what are the houses? As we all know, we have 12 astrological signs, and the astrologers, based on these signs, they divided the zodiac into 12 pieces, and they assigned one sign and its ruler to every piece. These pieces are called houses, and they correspond to our stages in our personal development, and also they are indicating areas of our life. Now, starting from the first house, this is also called the house of the ascendant, and it's the house of Aries, ruled by Mars. In a natal chart, that shows our personality, our psychological motivation, our well-being, our attitude and temperament, and our physical characteristics. Basically, it's the image that we give to the world. As a phase in our development, it is the beginning, a fresh start on a personal level. When we have aspects affecting this house, they may make us feel uncertain or confused or excited, and if the aspects are difficult, they may even speak about self-abandonment or even collapse due to a lot of pressure. Moving to the next house, the second house is the house of Taurus, ruled by Venus. In a natal chart, that shows our values, how we value things, people, ourselves, our possessions. It shows our personal income and also our feeling of security. In the personal development stage, this is a follow through. It's the time where we try to solidify what we have started creating. It's a time where we gather resources, inner and outer, and we gain confidence. Aspects affecting this house can make us prove ourselves to ourselves and show our dedication. If the aspects are difficult, then we may speak about retreat into the past, lack of confidence, or even imposter syndrome. Moving to the third house, this is the house of Gemini, and this house is ruled by Mercury. In a natal chart, that shows our siblings and near relatives, excluding like parents and kids. It's our near environment, our early education years, It's also our transportation and communication, and how someone copes with noise, crowds, and isolation. When we are seeing this house as a stage in our development, that shows the time where we may change our mind, develop new attitudes, gather information, become more aware of our environment. It shows mental activity and new ideas. Aspects affecting um, this house obviously bring issues that have to do with the themes that I already mentioned, but also may show curiosity, eagerness to learn and teach, and a willingness to be more communicative. Now, if the aspects are difficult, they may indicate exhaustion or lack of focus and direction. Moving to the fourth house, that's the house of Cancer, and it's ruled by the moon. In a natal chart, it's our home, our domestic life. It's our relationship with our parents, the past and previous generations. And it's also the house that we create. In the development stage, this is the phase where we are checking our roots and travel down memory lane. Aspects affecting this house may speak about reflection time, cut back on activity, hermit mode, and our need for peace and quiet. And difficult aspects may speak about emotional self-indulgence and even a feeling of being stuck. The fifth house is the house of Leo. It is ruled by the sun, and in a natal chart shows our creativity, our children, love affairs, pleasure, risk-taking, and flirting. In a development stage, this is a phase of revealing ourselves, and it's a time of self-expression, creativity, and playfulness. And aspects affecting the fifth house may talk about spontaneity and obviously bring issues that we just in themes that we just mentioned. But also, if it's if the aspects are difficult, then we speak about ego problems and maybe being childish. The sixth house is the house of Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. This house is also ruled by Mercury, and in a natal chart, this house is associated with health, diet, exercise, hobbies, our everyday routine, our everyday job, also our skills and our pets, small ones. The phase of development is the phase of submission to a larger purpose. It's also the time where we acquire new skills. It's the sense of responsibility. Aspects affecting the sixth house talk about hard work, self-sacrifice, and competence, and if they are difficult, they may speak about a feeling of inadequacy, drudgery, and resentment. Moving to house 7, that's the house of Libra, and it is ruled by Venus. In a natal chart, this is the house of partnerships, relationships, important relationships. It's our marriage and our relationship with our significant other. This house also shows our level of commitment. In a development stage, this is the phase of cooperation, interdependency, how we see others with clarity, and it's our ability to compromise. And when we have aspects affecting this house, they bring to the surface issues that have to do with love, respect, acceptance, real communication, and compromise. Now, difficult aspects may show addiction to another person or an idea, and they may also speak about the loss of self. Scorpio and Pluto are the rulers of the 8th house. In a natal chart, that's the house of intimacy. It's the house also of sex and inheritance, investment, debts, money that have to do with other people, self-searching, personal transformation, our beliefs about death and afterlife. And this house may show things related to crime, research, investigation, and our survival instinct. In the development stage, this is the phase of, let's say, deep house cleaning, inner and outer, emotional and practical. It's also the time of integration, intensification of feelings, and it brings about issues of deep meaning to the individual. Now, aspects that have to do with the 8th house often have to do with honesty, and if they are difficult, they may speak about fear, denial, resistance, and even depression. Moving to the next house, this is the 9th house. It is ruled by Jupiter and corresponds to Sagittarius. In a natal chart, this house speaks about higher education, long distance travel, long distance communication, ideas, dreams, challenges, social media, law, literature, publishing, foreign languages, language skills in general, philosophy, spirituality, moral codes, conscience, sports, adventure, and quests. In the development stage, this is a phase of expansion, exploration, education, changing the routines, and gaining new perspective. Now, if we have difficult aspects here, then someone's beliefs may be very dogmatic, and we may also experience boredom. The 10th house is the house of Capricorn and is ruled by Saturn. This house in a natal chart speaks about career, ambition, worldly progress, social status, additional responsibilities, tradition, authority, and destiny. In the development stage, this is the phase of empowerment, and it's a time where we go public. Difficult aspects may show that we are stuck in a limiting role. Next, we have the 11th house. It's the house of Aquarius, and it's ruled by Uranus. In a natal chart, that's the house of social life, social conscience, friends, objectives, community, and also issues that have to do with ecology and good causes. In the developmental stage, this is a phase of self-direction, setting priorities, setting goals, and forming alliances. When we have aspects affecting this house, we are talking about setting clear goals, but if the aspects are difficult, we may see someone wandering around with no clear purpose and experiencing difficulty to choose or decide what to do next. Last but not least, we have the 12th house. It's the house of Pisces and it's ruled by Neptune. In a natal chart, this is the unconscious. This is the house of solitude, privacy, withdrawal, secrecy, escapism. It speaks about faith and institutions, and it may indicate our karma and our deepest wounds, self-sacrifice, and also the roots of psychological problems. Last but not least, it is also connected to charity. Now, in the developmental stage, this is the phase of reflection. It's a time we surrender and letting go. We understand what has been outgrown, and it's a time for transformation. Difficult aspects affecting this house may show resistance to change, feeling exposed, confusion, bitterness, and escapism. Now, in a personal chart, and this is why I've done this, in a personal chart, although the houses always follow this order and always mean the same thing, they may be ruled by different planets depending on what time you were born and what sign was on the horizon at the time that you were born. Let's say, for example, that your ascendant is Leo. Then Leo will be in the first house here. And Leo will be in the first house, and the Sun will be the ruler of the first house. Equally, Capricorn will be the sign of the sixth house, and Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, will be the ruler of the sixth house. I hope that makes sense. If you are a beginner and you want to make it a bit easier to work on your chart, you can download a chart from an online database, and then you can use this to write like the signs and put the planets, and then use that to write what its house means, and then it will be easier for you to cross-reference. Now, to make things a little bit more complicated, let's say that your Venus is in Virgo, right? We see that Venus is the ruler of Taurus and the ruler of Libra. So Venus is the ruler of the 10th house and the 3rd house, if that was your personal chart. However, at the time of your birth, if Venus was in Virgo, then it might be, although it's ruling these houses, it might be staying in the 2nd house. Does this make sense? Now, how we are going to interpret that and how we can use tarot to help this, I'll explain in a different video. For now, I just want you to understand what the houses are and how the planets may rule one house, but actually stay, live, or visit, if you want, another house. Right, I've said that. And I will quickly mention that if we are using a different house system and the houses are uneven, there is a chance that one house may have more than one sign in. Don't get confused. The ruler of the house will always be the ruler of the sign that is closer to the entrance of the house, what is called the cusp in astrology. So, like, if here we had Libra and Scorpio in this house, then the ruler of this house would be Libra, which is the first house, which is the first sign in the house, right? Right, now I would like to say one more thing about the houses, and then I will close this episode because it's getting quite big. And I have many other things that I want to say about the houses, but I will explain them in a different episode. Before I go to the next part, I want to say that this astrological wheel is from Benabel Wen's website. So if you want to create that chart for yourself, you can print that out from Benabel's website. Right. Now, online, you can find um, many different charts explaining the houses and what they mean and everything. So if you want, you don't necessarily have to memorize everything. You can download one of them. I printed out one from kellysastrology.com, and I adapted a few things. But what I wanted to say here is that the houses can be divided into 3 different sections: the first 4 houses, the next 4 houses, and the last 4 houses. The first 4 houses are called personal, and these houses are showing how we come into the world, and we try to make sense of ourselves, to find our identity, our needs and wants, and how we can meet these needs. Then we move to the next 4 houses, which are called interpersonal houses, and they explain that having understood ourselves, now we realize that there is a world around us, and we try to connect, offer and relate to this world, and connect with the people around us. Then once we pass this stage, we go to the last 4 houses that are called transpersonal houses. And here, having understood ourselves and realized that there are people around us and started building relationship with them, we now see the bigger picture. And this is when we seek further knowledge, we seek spirituality, connection with the divine and our higher self. So depending on where your planets are, you may get a further indication about what is our purpose in this particular life. And I think I'm gonna close this video here and continue about the houses in a different episode, where I will also show how we are gonna use the tarot to interpret elements from our birth chart. Now, if you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. If you want to stay connected and get notifications, please hit the notification bell. And thank you very much for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful time. Much love. Bye.